Good morning. I'm Jill.
I'm Deb.
This is the Friday Grief Chat, and we are so glad you're here if it's now or if it's later. This is a chat that's going to have a lot of visuals because it's that kind of chat. But on the other hand, whoops, there's a visual you don't need. On the other hand, um, you will be able to see it on our Humor, Grace, and Grief page on Facebook later, even if you just listen to the audio if you want to. It is Christmas week, and it's time for us to talk about how to get ready for holidays and who's missing.
Yeah, that's at least for me. Let me say this is the first time we are meeting with Daryl's kids in 4 years
Hmm?
in person. COVID took out a couple of those years, and then weirdness is what weirdness is, and uh, and then we are getting back, and it's I think for me, Jill, I'm I'm missing gaps of information and
Yep.
I'm missing people and I'm missing pre-COVID and I'm missing and yet while I say I'm missing the rest of our audience, but I'm also needing to balance. Balance is real important. So, like, how can I adjust? It's not fix
Hmm.
because you don't fix.
No,
So,
you
those
can't
are some of
fix.
my missings. Look at you. And I know also for many people, this Christmas is a Christmas of firsts.
It is for lots of people, but I did get the yeah, I've got my Christmas sweatshirt on, my got Yule, um, and I'm doing my best. Christmas with firsts can be very hard, or tiring, or not or and happy because you can still enjoy all of it. And
Right.
we still have COVID around, so we still have people who are. I've got clients who are autoimmune compromised, and they still can't see family members this Christmas. And of course, we've started the annual illness at Christmas, and our eldest is now sick, has a sore throat, a
Oh,
cough, feels miserable, and she's on her way to urgent care under protest as we speak. Right? So everyone, good thoughts for the Carrie Berry, but it is a year of firsts, and Deb and I, in thinking about having the program this close to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for those who celebrate that, and right after solstice last night. Oh, listen to you. It's it was time to sort of not to sort of it was time to bring in those we are missing and those who are missing from our lives.
hmm.
And we have pictures of those who are not here anymore, but we also want to expand this into your thoughts about we want to support you if you are missing the gaps like Deb is. If you're missing
Hmm.
folks who are still very much alive but far away.
Hmm.
I have my youngest and the newest grandbaby in there in Kansas City, of all places. So far too far away to gather for the holidays. We
Hmm.
have folks who are still estranged from family. I spent the last 2 nights working with our unhoused population, and many of them are separated from their families,
Hmm.
or they wish they could be with family, but family doesn't have space for them because economic times preclude too many people in the same house, or they're already so jammed up. Right?
Right.
There's lots of different ways folks are separated. We have dear friends who just had a child they thought they were going to adopt, placed back by foster care with the birth family, and nobody saw that coming. And so where they thought they were having Christmas with a baby, they're not. So they've had to change it up. We have lots of
Hmm.
ways that our world can shift in a hurry.
Yes. And can you hear me okay? I think I
Yeah.
glitched
Uh-huh.
out for a minute.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that don't want to be with family, but
Right.
the other family don't realize that. And then there's people who who's my family this time of year,
Hmm.
right? Because maybe they're single, maybe nobody's including them, maybe,
You are
and
glitching.
it's not just for widows or widowers or
Hmm.
who you gonna see. So
Hmm. It's a lot of that. And then there are
yeah,
people who, if you've got another presidential election coming up in the United States, that seems to mean just so much ugliness. And so we're missing family members who really can't gather in the same house, right? Because
right.
it's just not
Because
a
of
good
political
idea.
stuff,
Right,
right?
right.
That's
And the high
that's exactly.
sensitivity stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
I
so we
know.
made a little slideshow, or I made a little slideshow of pictures we have. And what we want to do, we've encouraged this all week, and none of you have participated, but we would encourage you to this week, this weekend, next week, post the pictures. Our page allows anyone to post pictures. Please keep them clean and neat. We don't want to have to ban anyone, but please post pictures of those you are missing and tell us who they are and how long they've been missing or why they are missing or the places you're missing. Are you no longer near what home was?
Or your
Are you
pets.
your
Are you
pets? Are you
missing
from Lahaina and you're missing your community? Are you from Ukraine and you've had to leave?
Are you
Um,
from in Prague? There was a mass shooting. Unheard of.
are you
Please.
are you connected to Israel and the Middle East and what's going on in all of the bombings going on? Share with us who you're missing and why, and let us provide some support. It's important when you are missing someone to say their name, share who they are, who they were, what's not there anymore, right?
Mhm.
What is not there that you wish could be there? I have to say, when I was doing these slides and I was having to go and look for pictures from my own, I was like, oh, wait, I'm missing them too. I'm missing them too, right? Because when you get to our
Yes.
age, you have a lot more people in one side than you
Yeah.
do on the other. We need to gather some more of the littles, I think, because it really is that way. So let's see if we can make this slideshow. Debbie
I
Jenkins
know.
Frankel,
I
thank you for
know.
teaching me. I love you for that. So, um,
Oh,
just thought that was a pretty
great.
picture, huh? So, we're remembering
Yeah, that's
today.
beautiful. My
This is Deb's
cat,
cat, Charlie.
Charlie.
What was special
I
about
just
Charlie?
loved him.
Just that heart
You
cat?
know, he was sort of um a Bubba. We've had Bubba cats, big, and uh, maybe not the brightest cat crayon on the box, but definitely he was a cuddler. He was a cuddler, and I
If
miss him.
I bet you do. He looks sweet. If you are a cat person and you are looking for something for the holiday, or you know someone who's a cat person and you're looking for a special gift, there were a series of books written by a woman who rescued a blind black cat. And all you have to do is put those words in a Google search or in an Amazon search. And her vet talked her into adopting this black cat. And after her cat died, and the cat actually at one point saved her life because
Wow.
someone broke into her apartment in New York, and the cat didn't need lights. The cat just knew there was somebody who didn't belong there. And when the guy attacked her on her bed, the cat flew through the dark off the tall highboy dresser and shredded him, and he fled from the apartment. So she's got
Wow.
all the adventures of the two of them. Not to
Hmm.
interrupt Charlie, but it's a definite black
Yeah.
cat or heart cat kind of a story series.
Yeah.
And we all are
Exactly.
missing pets today.
Yeah.
Who is this, Deb?
Oh, that is my Aunt Jackie. And Aunt Jackie, after my parents died, she was the matriarch of the family. She was the one you sort of went to for everything. I mean, she died a number of years ago, but you know what? I miss her advice. She also, when she was 60, she decided to go to cooking school and graduate. And she lived in LA. She was on different cooking shows. She did so many different things. Yeah.
That's awesome. Don't mess with Deb's family. Who is this, Deb? This is the
That's
sweetest
Daryl's
picture.
mom.
Oh, shoot.
Oh,
Help.
that's all
It
right.
went, no, it's got to go back. It's got to go back. There we go.
Okay. That is Daryl's mom. And, you know, we loved each other. We met each other when she broke her knee and was in the nursing home. And that's how I met Daryl. She needed therapy. And, we would giggle and laugh about everything. And not so the rest of the family. And so we had a special bond. And for instance, she was of the age when to go to sleep, she wrapped her hair in toilet paper.
I remember
And
those days.
do you remember those days?
I do.
So one year for Christmas, I bought her 8 rolls of toilet paper.
If
And
you're not seeing this slideshow, you need to watch it on our page because or
yeah,
on YouTube because this picture is just it's the essence of kindness when you look at this
and
and mischievousness.
and one year, many years into Daryl's and my marriage, she said, I want to thank you for something. That's how she talked. And I said, what's that? And she goes, thank you for getting my son to hug me. I said, what are you talking about? She goes, well, you don't remember. And I didn't. And the story goes that being the bossy Jewish person that I am, and I say that with love because in our family, you don't dare leave the house without a hug and a kiss goodbye. So Daryl and I needed to be someplace when I was meeting his mom, in her home. She had left the nursing home. And we were leaving. We needed to go. I said, look, we gotta go. Go hug and kiss your mom goodbye. And he did. And he did that continually. And I never knew that it made a difference.
What a change you made in her life and what a change you made in his. Well, I mean, we knew you made changes in his life, but wow, what a nice thing. What a
Yeah,
great memory.
that is Reverend Linda, one of my mentors that sort of raised me up spiritually through the Unity Church. And on her dying bed, I was with her and I said, I promise to cause good trouble. And she said, thank you. There you go. Aunt Jackie's sister was Aunt Sandy. And Aunt Sandy died a couple years ago. And
When we were in Wisconsin.
yes, that is exactly right. That's my Aunt Sandy. And she was the playful, mischievous person like my dad. Aunt Jackie, she was very like this. Oh, so Aunt Sandy gave me words of wisdom. Never judge how someone spends their money or what religion. Just they're always going to do it the way they want to. Don't even go there. Where Aunt Jackie was the political one. I forgot to say I'm remembering at 8. I'm 8 years old and I think we're going to get arrested because we're on the picket lines in California, somewhere in a school. And on the other hand, Aunt Sandy, uh, she was the wild one, and That's all I can say. We got along great.
That's awesome.
That's my dad. People don't hear me talk about that too often. My dad died when I was 14, and he did not look to me as a little girl. I was whatever I was, meaning he taught me how to use power tools at age 10 and 11. I was painting fences and hammering and nailing when I was little. And like the rest of his family, except his older sister, he very much was the mischievous ADHD. And I get my finest qualities there. So there you go. Great sense of humor. That is my mom. And I was probably in my 30s. She might have been in her 50s, later 50s. And that is Grandpa Charlie. That's Aunt Sandy and Aunt Jackie and my dad's dad. And
Nice.
also, my mom was very grounding and very organized, and Grandpa was organized, grounding, and very colorful character.
I can see all of them in you. I'll bet our viewers can too who know you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
As we age and as holidays go by, we start seeing more and more pictures where there's more people not here than here. And
right.
it's nice to bring them back up and remember them and bring them back and make them present. Thank you for sharing them. And you do look like a combo. This is
Oh,
my mom. Margaret died in June of this year, so this is her first year. That picture got a little distorted. I apologize. And she was, I think I'm sort of her mini me. Good
yeah,
trouble all the way. Yeah,
trouble,
get
and
it.
you look a little like her too.
We do look a lot alike, more and more each year. And she was the one who had the FBI file because she wrote letters demanding rate pay raises for professors at universities and complaining about treatment of migrants. And at 19 was at city councils demanding better services and sanitation for the migrant farm workers she lived amongst. So yeah, I was raised by a rabble rouser and I took it on wholeheartedly, but she's very much missed this year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my dad, Harry, and this is our
Oh,
16th Christmas without him. Um, and he was the one that at Christmas read the Christmas story before we were allowed to open presents. We always open presents on Christmas Eve, which is definitely a Scandinavian tradition as well as other places, but it's definitely Scandinavian. But then he couldn't allow paper to hit the floor. Not okay. Paper could not hit the floor. And he died right before Christmas. So that first Christmas we were without him as we were all trying to get through it, but we had small kids amongst all of us. We were able to laugh and let the new kittens play in the wrapping paper because Grandpa was not there to pick up the wrapping paper and the giant black trash bag.
mm-hmm.
Right? He also taught me how to cuss and how to use power tools. Thank you, Pop. And this is the other Pop of our family. This is Stacy's dad. The
Oh,
anniversary of his death is coming up very soon. He also died right around Christmas. And he retired 3 times. He served 28 years in the United States Air Force and retired as a Chief Master Sergeant, was highly decorated. There are
wow.
lots of families who got to have lots of Christmases with their loved ones because he pulled them out of a sinking amphibious vehicle in Korea in freezing cold water where someone had forgotten to seal the top. And he and a buddy were on an illegal fishing trip, took a day off, called out sick. They were at a MASH unit. And so they were highly decorated. He lost the sight in one eye because of a critter in the water. But he also got KP for 2 weeks and he missed his pinning ceremony because he was in KP.
That's I can see where Stacy has her mischievousness from.
The mischievousness comes from there. Yes, he also became a school crossing guard in his third career, and used to bring projects for the kids. And one time he bought gold in sand and
Yeah.
a little tub, and he let the kids pan for gold on their way home from school.
Oh,
Right,
that is great.
right. And these are my wives. That's Linda on the top, with her Peter Pan smile, and Casper on the bottom. Um,
Yes.
so we've had lots of years of holidays with them, and lots of years of holidays now without them. This will be the 10th year without Casper,
Wow.
this year. So yeah, lots of good memories. And this is my Aunt Pat, who was part of my formation. She was a nurse. I think this is where my fondness for nurses probably came in, and fear of nurses and their ability to tell you exactly like it is,
Oh,
and not to argue with them.
don't argue.
She is a public health nurse and an ER nurse, and my
Yes.
dad's only sister, and we lost her in the early days of AIDS. She'd had a blood transfusion, and they didn't even know that's what it was, but she died of
Right.
miliary TB. So we've had lots more Christmases without her than with her, but she's definitely someone that's thought of all the darn time. She used to chase my dad with the scissors through their barn as he was chasing her with a pitchfork. Don't you love siblings?
Yeah. Oh, Doug.
There's our bug, Doug. If you're longtime listeners, you used to hear Doug coughing in the background.
Yes.
Doug was our rescue that we had for about 3 years, and we lost him in June of this year, right
Yes.
before we lost our mom. And he's much loved, well thought of, and we still have his lamb chops all over this house.
Ha!
And this is my Delphi.
Adele.
She started the program with us. She started on my lap. We
Right.
lost her in 2020, but she's my little heart dog. And so they're on our tree, and her ornament is sitting in front of me right now because the holidays still include them.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if I can figure out how to stop sharing the slideshow. There we go. Hey, look at that.
That
For
was
all the tech.
beautiful. Thank you.
If anyone wants to send in pictures now, we will be happy to include them in our New Year's Eve show, because
Yeah.
we want people to remember folks, say their name, share the important things about them,
Mm-hmm.
share how they've become part of us. I have to say, I've never chased anyone with a pitchfork or a scissors, but I have thought about it. Right? Right. So we have all those bits of us, and we need to share them.
You know, Jill, thank you once again um, for not being for someone I can identify with thoughts that shall not be named. So I tried to put that as creatively just now as I could.
So
So
many thoughts.
oh, so many thoughts, and not enough thread to sew my mouth, like
I
Billy,
know. Mm-mm.
like
Yeah.
Billy in Hocus Pocus.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. We do get
yeah,
our twisted senses of humor from the folks you just saw, folks. That's
absolutely.
how we got to where we are.
You know, I have to tell you, I know a lot of people don't like potty humor, but my love of potty humor came from my father. It never came from my mother. My mother, you know, just did not have that kind of humor. My father, he took us all camping. He took a girlfriend of mine, and he took my brother and his boyfriend, you know, guy friend. And then he took my uh, two guy friends of mine. And so there were three different tents. And my father stayed in the tent with the two younger guys, right? My brother and Sammy. And what I remember is my dad, all of a sudden, I guess the beans got to him. And he laughed and laughed and laughed. He laughed. My father laughed so hard it woke the rest of us up. So we were laughing about passing gas, and which sounds so juvenile, but sometimes you just need to go back to those times and
Mhm.
remembering that silliness. And when you do that, you remember you enjoyed that silliness. Most people, not
Right.
everyone. And then you have the opportunity to continue that kind of silliness that is lighthearted, that has nothing to do with politics. I mean, body sounds come from everybody.
Mhm.
And whether it's, some people have brothers and sisters who can burp the ABCs, you
I
know.
have a great nephew who can do that and a
See?
couple of grandsons. Mhm.
But then you have also from people, as Jill and I both said, our dads weren't sexist as far as teaching us from anything. Teaching us, power tools. I like what Steve says. My granny came from the flapper era and was never at a loss for a good potty joke.
Right?
My grandmother, Grandma Tilly, who was not shown there, my dad's mom, came from the flapper era, and when I got older, was never at a loss for a dirty joke.
We
And
have
my
mhm.
grandfather ran bootleg, in this case, not alcohol, but salamis and things like that for the speakeasies in Chicago.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pictures of my paternal grandmother was from Florida. They both moved, my grandparents moved to Florida when they were late teens, having just been married, and lived in a tent for a year. You have to be tough stuff if you can do that, especially if you're acclimated to Michigan and Minnesota.
Oh my goodness.
And there's a picture of her in this long dress with patches on it. It's she clearly brought it with her, and she's holding a dog in her arms in front of this army tent and in the middle of the scrub that they had to clear. And then there's another
Oh,
one of her in a flapper dress.
ah,
And then there's another one of my grandfather holding an alligator that he'd killed for dinner.
mhm.
So yeah, they were tough stuff.
You
But
know,
I found a series of pictures of them floating in the lake in Florida, and then pictures of our family in the same lake in Florida. And it's like, yeah, we did have some playtimes that we
yeah,
all enjoyed at different times in the same place in different years. And those are important continuities to keep going and to talk about.
exactly. Dawn Hartman joins us, and let me tell you about Dawn. Dawn, such a big heart. And Dawn used to run a photography business and still does beautiful photography. And she knew I needed a job and she said, "Want to help?" And we both laughed because um, I'm pretty sure that the groomsmen all had been in jail, were going to jail, or on trial for jail. It was so weird. And I'll never forget how Dawn gave me a a job. It was so I just needed the money. I got to hang out with her. I learned all sorts of stuff. It was great. I'm always grateful. Plus, Dawn's pretty darn funny.
I like that. I'm so grateful for
Yeah.
our viewers and for those who participate and those who participate afterwards and those who listen in
Uh-huh.
on the podcast, which Carrie is putting up as quickly as we can. Um, it's almost time. Deb, what are you going to do for Christmas?
Actually, the whole weekend is Christmas. So I do want to brag here that for tomorrow's festivities, I made pulled pork, which is the best I've ever made, and I have made Italian beef, which came out the best it's ever come out. And so I'm already doing good. And then, so tomorrow is all the grandkids in different places and all the children. Sunday is a church service. So we've been planning that, and I have to write that up. And then, thirdly, on Christmas, and it's been a tradition, our neighbors come over when they get up. It's later and later as we get older. And we have a giant breakfast, and that's when my daughter and her significant other will come over. And then I don't do nothing but drink coffee or decaf or whatever I drink during the day. And then I
Nice.
have snack on ham and bacon and whatever's in the house.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Dawn Hartman is going to send you a nature holiday collage. She's going to stick it in the comments. We'd love to
Okay.
have it. If you can't get it in there, put it on the Facebook page. Humor,
Yeah,
Grace, and Grief on
yeah,
Facebook. We'd love to
definitely.
see
Thanks,
that.
Dawn.
Very much so.
Her work is beautiful.
I think
So,
I've seen some of it before.
yeah.
I'm going to spend tomorrow with our grandchildren at my daughter's house. It's going to be raining here tomorrow, and our house is not great for tinies. So we're going to go down to them so the kids don't have to travel and they can be comfortable and not be told don't touch.
Uh-huh.
And by some miracle, we have got all the presents wrapped. I've never had all the presents wrapped this early, and I don't know how we did it, but they're wrapped. So we're going to bring in lunch and have a holiday lunch with them.
Mm-hmm.
Leave our eldest behind because she's sick.
Yes.
And then we also have our extra daughter here in town because we had
Mhm.
a funeral this week for a family member. So we're going to see her. And then Sunday, Christmas Eve, is Christmas Eve service in the morning. We're going to light the Christ candle
Mhm.
in church and do the reading. And then we have Christmas Eve service, which is my favorite. Our church does the lessons and carols from England. And
Oh,
so
nice.
that'll end with Silent Night by candlelight,
Yep.
where everybody hums Silent Night until every candle is lit. And then we sing one verse together and go out in silence.
I love that.
It's my favorite tradition. And then Christmas Day is quiet time, seeing a few family members, probably our niece and great nephew. And then Christmas night is always spent with our former neighbors who used to own the house I live in now. And we have dessert leftovers and drinks and just kind of catch up for the year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I took some days off. It's kind of a miracle unto itself.
What? Oh,
So
I'm
a quiet year this year. The rest of it's going to be spent cleaning out my mom's house because some of that is just still got to get done. Dawn, the Facebook page is Humor, Grace, and Grief on Facebook, or put facebook.com/Friday Grief Chat, and it will take you to the page. And that's not it. It'll take you to the entire page, and then you can post on there. We've made
Yeah.
it completely postable. But
Yeah.
again, if anyone posts naughty stuff, we will take it down.
Oh, yeah.
Potty humor is fine. Other stuff, not so much. We had to
I
block the
have
dudes from one page because they were. Ugh.
I have more than one, but one of my friends going through a really, really tough time this past year. And I don't ask how you doing or anything like that. I only send her potties from around the world. Oh,
This
oh,
is Katen.
hello. So potty humor, and with the Elf on the Shelf, I send all potty humor related to that elf.
Nice. Please, everyone, take care of yourselves. Find your humor. Allow yourself to cry if you need to, but let yourself smile too,
Hmm.
right? Even if it's
And
just because it's pretty outside or a cardinal showed up at the window.
and cardinals, for many of our listening audience, they know that cardinals are a sign that your ancestor are here. For those that celebrated Yule, Merry Yule, blessed Blessed Yule, and Kwanzaa's happening. Whatever you need to do to keep yourself grounded, so to speak, go ahead and do it. Cry, laugh, shed one little tear, take a memory,
Eat
hold
some
your
fudge.
hand over your heart. What?
Eat some fudge.
Eat some fudge. I had Lockies already, so all my ancestors are with locks. It was delicious.
Mm.
So, in any case, take
Next
care of
week we'll be
yourselves.
next week we'll be back and we'll be talking about how not to do New Year's. It's an annual
Yes.
tradition. So get ready for that. We're going to talk about what not to do, what expectations not to have, and how to put the new year in perspective.
All right. And Dawn, we're going to check it in a moment. And Steve, thank you. Stay healthy. Everybody, stay healthy and be well and send good thoughts to all those that you know are missing others. Send thoughts of peace. It'll go where it needs to.
All
What's an
right, everybody.
expectation, Dawn? We'll talk later.
We'll
All
talk.
right.
All right. Bye, everybody. Merry
Bye,
Christmas and whatever
everyone.
else. Bye.